I have a conceptual question. Okay, so here's my conceptual question. And what we're going to do here is that there's going to be two possible paths, okay? And what I'll do here is that, let me bring in the image. I got this out of a textbook, which I thought was a good image. And it looks like this. So you could see here is that one possible path is that as this person jumps off this little cliff, you could see that one path is going to follow this path right here. So I'm going to say it can follow this path into the water, and we're going to call this path number 1. And then the other way that this person can get into the water is that they follow this other path right here. And I'm going to call this path number 2. So the question that's being asked here is this. Which path, right, number 1 or number 2, gives the greatest speed of entering the water? And again, the very first thing that we got to do here is that we got to ask the question, is conservation of energy valid? And so what we're asking is that, what is our system? Okay, so what's our system? So the person that we're really paying attention to is who? This person that's going to swing on the rope here. But one of the things that's important here is that when I look at my system, I'm looking at my system through this whole process here. And we got to ask, when I'm looking at my system here, what are the forces acting on them? So the system here is the rope, the person, and there's one thing that we may not realize it is the earth. So when I start to look at this thing, what do I know? Well, I know for a fact here that this person here has what? Well, there is definitely a force of gravity acting on this person. And the other thing that's here that's really important, there's a tension. So we're assuming that we're ignoring air resistance, so there are two forces acting on this person here. So then this tells us here is that we have two forces within the system, and we know that the work of gravity leads to a potential energy change of this person. So the work done by gravity does not change the total energy of the system. Right? Maybe I should not write that. I think I'm going to just say it. So the work of gravity does not change the total energy of the system. And again, the question is, what about the work due to tension? Well, as we discussed beforehand, what we do know here is that we have a tension force, and the displacement as this person is swinging will always have a perpendicular displacement relative to the tension. In other words, this is a 90-degree angle. So this means here that because it's perpendicular,
Wait, Carlos, why is it perpendicular?
because if you look at the direction of the velocity, so let's look at this example here. Imagine that we have a string right here. And this string is moving like this. When I look at the tension here, the tension will be in this direction. When I look at the direction of the velocity, it has to be perpendicular. But if the velocity is perpendicular, then the displacement is also in the direction of the velocity. So therefore, they have to be perpendicular. So if they're perpendicular, then the work of the tension will not change the total energy of the system. It will not change the total energy of the system. So if that is the case here, what we'll do here is that now this implies that we can apply conservation of energy. So then I want to come in and I want to do a bar diagram. So if I look at a bar diagram, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look at something like this here, but this time I'm going to do it a little bit smaller and I want to try to get a good picture here. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to come in and I'm going to say that this line right here is my y equal to 0, which tells me I'm going to reference my potential to be right there. So then what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to imagine that I could then come in and I'm going to look at the center of mass of this person. Okay, that's the center of mass. So if I now look at this thing, what do I know? Well, I know that assuming that he just falls right off the cliff, that's telling me that initially he has this amount of potential energy at point number 1. So when I look at his total potential energy, it's going to look just like this. So if that's all the energy that he has initially, then what this tells me here is that the total energy of the system must be a constant. So if I come in here and I try to draw a constant line, it's got to look like this here. So this line is my constant energy line for total energy. So now I know that. So then here I go. I keep doing my game here. So if I look at here, that's this potential energy right here. And let's call this state 2 and let's call this state 3. And when I look at this thing, wow, they almost look like their center of masses are exactly the same. No, this one looks like it has a higher one. So when I go and I look at my gravitational potential, you could see here that this is my gravitational potential at 2. This is my gravitational potential at 3. But wait a minute. I know what the rest of the energy must be now. And the reason why is that I know that the total energy of the system is a constant. So if the total energy of the system is a constant, then we have no choice but to come in here and just say, okay, this is the kinetic energy at 2. This is the kinetic energy at 3. Okay, so when I look at this thing, we could see that these guys have different kinetic energies and different potential energies at 1, 2. However, we don't care about that. The only thing we care about is when they reach what? They reach the water. Where they reach the water. So when I look at the water here, you can see here is that the kinetic energy at this point versus the kinetic energy at this point are exactly the same. The release points have different energies, but when they hit the ground, or excuse me, not the ground, but the water, they're going to have the exact same kinetic energy. So what I'm saying here is that this is the kinetic energy of path 1. This guy is the kinetic energy of path 2. And because the bars have the same height, right? This tells us here is that the bars of K path 1 equals K path 2. That tells us here that they must have the same speed entering the water. And that argument is really, really powerful, right? It's a picture that's answering this question. And that's what I love about conservation of energy or conservation laws in general.